So I've finally tested it, I've finally driven it, I've spent some time with the new Tesla Model Y. I'm going to tell you all about it because this is the ElectroExam of the new Tesla Model Y. What's the most important thing when selecting an electric vehicle? It might be the range, it might be the charging, the technology, driver assistance features, you name it. That is why I've created the ElectroExam. The ElectroExam is my own proprietary format where I test 8 different categories of what I think are the most important factors you need to take into account before selecting an electric vehicle. The range, the charging, the tech, driver assistance, the driving, the interior, the exterior, all that is included in the ElectroExam. And when you choose an electric car, the parameters change somewhat compared to when you choose a conventional combustion engine car. So if you want to test and try and compare this kind of car with others that have gone through the ElectroExam, you can do so on our website. I'll put a link below in the description. You can even change the weight of each one of the categories to find the car that's just perfect for you. Now let's get on with it and let's test the new Tesla Model Y. So this is the long-awaited new Tesla Model Y. We've been hearing rumors about the restyling for more than 2 years now, and Tesla finally gotten around to actually doing it. We'll take a look at what has actually changed later on, but first allow me to go through the specifications for this vehicle. So this is the long-range dual motor version. We've got motor in the front, motor in the back, total of 514 combined horsepower. We've got a battery, 78.1 kilowatt hours of energy, but 75 of those are usable. With that, it can do 586 kilometers according to the WLTP standard. Do take into account that that's not what you will get if you're driving at highway speeds. So later on, we'll do a highway speed test and see how far it will actually go at consistent highway speeds. The car itself is 4 meters 78 centimeters long, 1.98 meter wide, and 1.62 meter tall. So it's a D-segment SUV, which makes it quite impressive that it'll do 0 to 100 in just 4.8 seconds. And this isn't even the performance version, which will be coming later on. Charging is at 11 kilowatts AC and 250 kilowatts DC if you charge at a Tesla supercharger. We'll do a charging test later on as well. Top speed, all of 201 kilometers per hour, but I don't think I'll be testing that today. Let's have a look at the car, see what you get. So this here is actually the default color option for the Tesla Model Y. It's called Stealth Grey. The 19-inch rims are also standard and the interior is black. So if you're going to order a Tesla Model Y dual motor long range with no extras, it's going to look like this. So the new front is significantly different from the front we have before. It's more angular, it's more aggressive. Before, the old Model 3 just looked like a fat version of the Model 3, and now it's got its own visual identity. I think that's a nice little touch here. We've cameras here on top, which I used for the autopilot, and we also now have an additional camera down here in the front, just so that you can see that you're not running over any poodles when you're parking. Poodles as in the little dog, not where you step in water. The lights on this car are a bit funny. You see this here light bar are just the daylight running lights. The actual lights are down here. Also the high beams are down there. The high beams are actually lit matrix, so they'll turn on and off individual pixels so as not to blind oncoming traffic. The whole thing looks quite different from what we're used to, but it's modern, and I do appreciate that they've changed it and they've given it some identity, right? The car comes standard with these cross-flow rims. They're 19 inches. You can optionally pay 2,000 euros and get some 20-inch rims that do not look as nice and also give you 20 kilometers less of range. Why anybody would do that is beyond me. By the way, if you want a little bit more of an open look to your rims, you can actually take away the grey parts. That's just a cover for aerodynamics. The actual rim is the black part here. If you look at the back of the car, it's quite changed as well. The biggest attention grabber is of course the indirect red lights here that lights up the back of the car, and at night projects a halo like an afterburner behind the car. It looks really, really nice. Other than that, we've got diffuser down below, and if you want to open it up, you got to click a button right here and you'll find I mean, this is 854 liters. This is huge, this space in here, but 854 litres actually sounds quite a lot bigger than what I'm used to in this segment of a car. I'm not sure if Tesla measures this up to this cover or all the way up to the glass. They should measure it only up to the cover. However, this cover can also be folded away like that, so we've got access, and then we've got even more storage space beneath it. And if that's not enough, we've got a second cover we can also open up, and we've got even more storage space there. We can easily fit, I don't know, our charging cables and everything we need for that there, and we can fit at least a suitcase or two down there. If that's not enough, we've got space in the sides. In fact, there's so much space there, I can fit an entire backpack that I have all my camera equipment in each side. 854 litres is actually quite a lot. It's so big, I probably don't even need to use the frunk ever. Now, if this one opens up too far, what you can do, and you can just adjust it to wherever you want. And then if you hold down this button here, it'll go beep in a second. And now next time you open it, it'll only open up to there. So look at that. And there we go. You'll not find a Tesla logo on the back of the car. You will not find a Tesla logo on the front of the car. In fact, I don't think there's any Tesla logos inside this car. There's none on the steering wheel either. It just says Tesla like it does here on the back. Funny, isn't it? So I am in the Tesla Model Y, the new Tesla Model Y, the Juniper, the Opal, whatever you want to call it. Dual motor, long range. I'm going to have to go quite far to empty this battery. I think it's just 75 kilowatt hours, though Tesla doesn't actually say how big it is. 586 kilometers of WLTP range, but we're going to do a highway test at 120 kilometers an hour, just hammering through it. We're going to go halfway through the battery, turn around and come back and see how far we can go. Let's do this. If you look at the car, I'm doing 121. However, if you look at this, I'm doing exactly 120. That's because I do all tests at a speed where I use a high precision GPS to make sure that I'm doing exactly 120, so I can compare range between different models. Now, I test drive a lot of different cars from a lot of different brands, and I always do the same thing with the speed. I use the high precision draggy to make sure that I'm doing exactly 120. That is the only way I can actually compare real world range between all these different cars, because some of them I have to actually do 125 according to the car in order to just do 120 for real. So yeah, take that into account. And if you live in a country where the average speed is much lower, like 110 in some places or 90 or whatever it is, do take that into account, because that will seriously affect your range. The difference in range just from 110 to 120 kilometers now is quite significant. Could be up to 20 to 30% on some models. So yeah, I'm doing 120, not going to back down from 120 unless there's traffic or roadworks or something. We'll try to keep it at that. So it is raining a bit, just a little, just a drizzle. What a shame. So these aren't perfect conditions for a range test. It will reduce the range a little bit, but hey, just take that into account once we get to a final number. So we're going to turn around here, and the car says that I'll get back to the charger with just 6% of battery left. Honestly, not even nervous. I know the Tesla system, and it uses all sorts of data to calculate this extremely precisely, so I'm very confident that if it says I'm going to get back with 6%, that is exactly what's going to happen. Well, it might be even more, but I'm definitely going to get back. I'm not going to get stranded. All right, I've done 300 kilometers, and I still have 20% battery left. Let's keep going. Tesla's system for planning a route is one of the best there is, because it knows exactly how much energy I'm going to have when I'm arriving at my destination, which gives me a lot of confidence for driving this car. So let's just try to plan a route. I'm going to talk to it in Spanish. Excuse me for a second. Vamos a París en Francia. So I planned a route from here in Madrid to Paris in France, and it's going to just get me there. But all the chargers it's going to put there are all going to be superchargers. So I've got like 7% battery right now, so of course I'm going to find a nearby supercharger. But as you can see, it's planned a route through all the superchargers from here to Paris. It tells me how much energy I'm going to have in each single one of them, and how much time I'm going to have to stop and charge at each one of them. It is absolutely perfect. It's just the way you should do it. However, there's one slight problem with this. It only uses superchargers. It only uses Tesla superchargers. There are many other charging networks. Some are as good and some are as fast as Tesla's, but it just ignores them when planning a route. That could be a little bit better. I'm going to a charger here nearby by a local provider called Thunder. You might have heard about them. They make excellent charging stations. They're fast, reliable, they're some of the best around. So if I'm going there, it knows it's a fast charger. So it even preconditions the battery, it preheats the battery, but yet it doesn't take it into account when it's planning a route. I guess if you're Tesla, you want to charge at your own charging stations, right? Still, it could have been just a smidgen better. Anyway, we're going to get there soon. That's it. Look at this, look at this. I'm at 6% battery, exactly what Tesla told us we were going to have, and this is my charger. Precision work, I love it. That's the way. I like it. Now let's do the charging. Well, first we're going to see what the actual range on this thing is. Hey, why don't we just let it park itself down there? See how it does that. Yeah? Go on then. Parking next to a charger by itself. Pretty cool, right? Okay, I've done the full range test now. I've done 371 kilometers, but I still have, well, here it says 5% battery, but I actually had 6% when I just arrived. So I'm going to calculate with an additional 6%. It took me a total of 3 hours and 24 minutes. So I have been driving at an average speed of, let me just check my notes, 112 kilometers per hour, which is the same as 70 miles per hour. If we add all of this up, and taking into account that today was relatively cold, between 4 and 11 degrees centigrade. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's enough that I should be in short sleeves, definitely. Then the total range of the car in today's test is 394 kilometers, same as 245 miles. The efficiency of the car, how the energy it spends, is 18.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, or the same as 186 watt hours per kilometer, or the same as exactly 300 watt hours per mile. 394 kilometers, 245 miles. Not bad at all. Now we're going to test how fast we can charge it up again. Hey, I'm here at my trusted Thunder station where I like to charge, because these chargers are fast, they are ultra reliable, and you can pay with credit card, you can use app or roaming, whatever you prefer. This one in particular is 300 and I believe 60 kilowatts, much more than what the car can do. So let's get cracking. Right, so if you're ever in Spain, you can use these Thunder charging stations. They're everywhere, they're super reliable, they're fast, and you can pay by credit card, or you can use your roaming provider from whichever country you are from, and it should work. We're now charging at 190 kilowatts, and we're at 16% state of charge. We've charged our first 100 kilometers in just 6 minutes. So I've just noticed that I have made an error. In order to charge 200 kilometers, if the car uses 18.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, I need to charge 37.2 kilowatt hours, not 33. Good thing we're still charging, so I can correct. Okay, so we're now at about 40% state of charge, and speed has dropped down to 117 kilowatts. It is not extremely slow, but neither is it extremely fast. Okay, here we are. We've done 37, well, I've gone a bit over now, 37.2 kilowatt hours in 15 minutes. Well, actually a little bit less, more like 14 and a half. So if you want to charge 200 kilometers of highway driving in the Tesla Model Y Juniper, that's 15 minutes for you, quarter of an hour. So here we're at an actual Tesla supercharger, and this one is a V4 location, and there's plenty of them available. There's just me right now. We're going to test if it's faster to charge the Tesla at an actual supercharger than at another station. It can supposedly charge at 250 kilowatts here. So let's see, how long time does it take to charge 200 kilometers here? At the Thunder station, it was 14 and a half minutes. Let's see what it is here. Okay, so now we're charging at 200 kilowatts. I'm at 16%. I started at 8% and it was all the way up to 220, 230-ish. I've been at it now for about 2 minutes. We've added 2 kilowatt hours. Let's see how much time it takes us before we get to 37 kilowatt hours added. 5:13. Okay, so I've actually just now reached a 37 kilowatt hours charge, and it's taken me, well, it just ticked over 16 minutes in total. So it is actually, let me just get some sun out of my face. It is actually just as fast to charge this car at a Thunder charging station or a third-party charging station, even though you won't get to the 250 kilowatts. There's literally no difference. Quite interesting, isn't it? We have just two settings for pedal response, relax or standard. If you buy the boost option, which is a software upgrade that unlocks just a little bit more power, you get relax or sport. You also get deceleration or motor regen, which is either reduced or standard. So now I've got it in standard, so I'm doing 80, I'm letting go of the accelerator, and the car will slow down until it actually comes to a complete stop. Even though I'm going downhill now. There we go. It's stopped. In fact, the regen braking on this car is so good, you can basically drive without using the brake pedal 99% of the time. At least when there's nothing surprisingly happening in front of you. Nobody jumps out in front of you. You don't really need to touch the brake pedal at all. Very, very comfortable for city driving. If you're used to an automatic where you sort of just let go and it coasts along, it might take a little time for you to get used to it, but I do highly recommend it. Just put it in standard. It is the most efficient way to drive the car, and it's the most fun as well after you get used to it. Steering is either light, standard, or hard. I've actually set it in hard. I find it more precise. It's not that hard either. It's not like I need to be struggling with the car. Now this is an SUV, but we have got more than 500 horsepower to throw at the road. So when it comes into a corner like this, I can feel that it is leaning to one side and leaning to the other side. Oh, you can even hear a bit of wheels spinning there. It's not a sporty feel, but it is at all times very, very safe and very, very comfortable. I think what they've done with this car is that the Model 3, when they made the new version, it was sort of a little bit more sporty than the previous version. Now this one, they've gone the other way. It's a little bit more comfortable than the previous version. Not quite as sporty. Still good though, still good. Now, one thing I would like to see improved on this are the brakes. You really have to put your foot down and really have to push them hard in order to get some heavy brake action from this. There's not much of a travel distance, but you have to use a lot of force actually to really get them to bite. The first bit they don't do much, then they gradually do more. Again, it's toward comfort more than actual sportiness. Of course, it accelerates like a bat out of hell, and if you don't think that 4.8 seconds is fast enough, you can buy the boost, which will put it all the way down to 4.3. I believe that what really changes is the 0 to 50 kilometers an hour, which is where I can feel that this one is a bit sluggish compared to one that just does, full speed ahead. Guess I can see that on the graph, on the acceleration test I do. Anyway, it is a nice, comfortable drive, and one thing you can really feel in this new version is the quality of the materials, the silence of the interior. I noticed it earlier because I had to honk at somebody and I could hardly hear it. The outside is very isolated from the inside. It is a very comfortable car to drive. I wonder what they'll do with the performance version of this one. Did you know that there's an actual motor sound in this vehicle? Yes, indeed. Not an artificial something that comes out of the speakers. Listen to this. When I accelerate, I don't know if the microphone is picking it up, but it goes. Sounds almost like a supercharger. Very nice, very nice. Okay, I have done the test now a few times. 5, and my best time was 4.64. There you go. 4.64 there in the middle. Slightly better than the advertised range, but, within range. Very good testing. interior of this Tesla Model Y is completely new and completely different, and wow, has it changed a lot. We've got much better materials all around. This is really high quality materials. There's no hard plastics, there's no piano black. It really feels like they've chosen premium materials, and I can really tell the difference because when I'm driving, the car is much more silent than the previous version was. If you can hear a slight hum, it's because I've actually put the ventilator into my seat, so it just cools down. It's got these little holes in it, and I can blow hot or cold air out of them. Very nice and much appreciated on a hot day like today. The steering wheel is smaller, simpler, and more sporty. Yeah, it feels a little bit shorter up here, bigger down here. It's very comfortable to drive with this one. I have good visibility out front. Ergonomically, the new seats are definitely better. I have more lateral support in them, and well, I'm a big guy. I'm a meter 90 or 6'4", and I fit just fine everywhere inside this car, even in the back. No problem whatsoever. The build quality is top notch. No squeaks, no rattles, nothing misaligned, nothing that's like slightly out of place or halfway badly put together. It's a quality piece of work here. Now, if I must look for something that I dislike a little bit or could be improved, is that everything is here on the screen. I would have liked a secondary screen behind the steering wheel or a heads-up display or something. Just give me something, Tesla. Come on. Big glass roof here. Maybe it would have been nice to be able to cover it or just make it a little bit darker. On a hot day like today, well, it's not that hot. It's 18 degrees, but I can still feel the sun coming through here. And if you live in the southern Spain, you might want to put something up here so that it doesn't burn your hair off. I have plenty of space. Massive space down here, massive space in here. By the way, if you're looking for the USB charge port, if you don't want to use the inductive charge in there, or you need to charge another device, it's in here, in the back. It can be a little bit difficult to find. Oh, by the way, I of course also have a glove compartment, which I can open from the screen there. It is tiny, and I think the most important bit here is that in there is the USB key that stores the Sentry mode, and when somebody tries to mess with this car, it's stored on a USB device in there, all the cameras and stuff. That is good. I like this new LED strip. It's similar to what we've seen on the Model 3. I expect Tesla in the future to program it to do funky stuff, dance with the music, blind spot alert, etc. Oh, I do have blind spot alerts as it is right now. So if I put on my blinkers and there's a car in my blind spot, it'll turn slightly red there. And I'll also get a little red light turning on here whenever there's some car or something in my blind spot. Now, I do really like this new blinker here. It's very nice and very stylized. And as I had talked about when we were doing the highway test, it is really nice when driving. I would have liked it to also include the high beams as well, but I've got them here on a button here. Also got my windshield wipers here on a button, and you can actually now use the windshield wipers without touching the screen, because you can click on the button and then you can use the scroll wheel to go up through the different settings of your menu screen here. On the right hand side, I've got camera, and very much appreciated. They've now put a camera out in front, but I can also swipe up and look out the camera in the back. Very clear, very bright, very good cameras. And of course, I've also got the two side cameras looking down the sides, and I can use those to avoid curb rash when I'm parking. Final button on the steering wheel is voice recognition. And the horn, where is it? It's where it's supposed to be. So overall, the materials, the space and ergonomics, and the quality with which it is built is all massively improved on this new Tesla Model Y. But imagine you're inside the car and you want to fold the seats and you can't be bothered to get out. What do? Well, you can actually go into the menu, and you've now got the option to fold the seats from the menu. Look, the seat even moves over a little bit just so that it can fold cleanly. If I do it here, it'll also ask me, are you sure? Because you're sitting in it. And I go, yeah. And it'll just push me a slight bit forward, fold the seat. And when it's done, it's going back. I don't know any other car that does this. In the back of the Model Y, there's plenty of space, even for a guy like me. I'm a meter 90, so if I can fit, you probably can too. I've got an additional new screen here, and one of the nice things about this screen is I can actually connect Bluetooth earpieces to this one. So if I'm sitting here in the back and watching Dora the Explorer, whatever kids watch nowadays, and Mama and Papa don't want to listen to that, they can listen to something else. Now, if I want to be a little bit more comfortable, I can adjust these seats here. Aha, look at this. Yeah, they recline somewhat, a little bit, not too much, but enough to be a little bit more comfortable. I can put my feet beneath the seat in front of it. There's so much space in this car. It is absolutely amazing. Oh, I even get a little LED light back here as well. Right, very nice. When we talk about technology in a Tesla, it's sometimes a little bit difficult because they get constantly updated. So what I'm about to show you, you might already have seen in many other Teslas already out on the market. But don't forget that Teslas are constantly updated. Every 4 weeks approximately, there's a new software update with new functionality, new security measures, more video games, whatever it is. So this car, instead of a completely new technological experience, is more of a continued evolution, which I guess is something that you really appreciate as an owner. The car does not just feel stagnant after a while. Anything technologically on this car happens on this big screen we've got here in the center. There are basically no other interfaces aside from a few buttons here on the steering wheel with which you can interact with the car. This means that you'll have to go through and learn these menus once you get the car, and there are plenty of things to go through. You've got some basic controls, even opening your glove compartment, which I think is around here. Oh, there you go. You also have the dash cam recorder, because this car is full of cameras and it records everything that happens around you all the time. It then stores it on a little USB stick you've got in there. So for example, you can go into this little app here, somewhere, there, and you can see what's happened when you've been driving, if somebody had overtaken you in a way that you didn't like for example, here I'm overtaking somebody, and look at this car. Come on, check your mirrors before you pull out. That could have ended badly. Now this here gets stored with all the rest of the cameras, and you can use that to take to the police, to your insurance company, if you have any problems, and show that you are not the terrible driver in this situation. You get plenty of other options here. I mean, you can now adjust your seats directly on screen here. You can even set your own profile up there. So my profile remembers my music settings, my driver's seat position and everything, and it's stored in the cloud. So if I get into a different Tesla, I can load up my own profile and it feels like I'm in my own car again. Now, it also connects with your mobile phone, because you don't actually need this key card to get in. You can just use your mobile phone Bluetooth connection to open the car, which is what most people do almost all of the time. I, in fact, have no idea where my own Tesla card is for my own personal Tesla. I haven't used it since I got the car 3 years ago. But when I get into the car with my mobile phone, the car knows that it's me. But when my wife gets into the car with her mobile phone, the car knows that it is her and will adjust it automatically to her profile. Brilliant. There's a lot of this seamless integration that you don't really notice, but it just makes life a lot easier. In fact, now that we are talking about the mobile phone, I just want to highlight the integration with the Tesla app. Now, of course, you can do things like remote control your car and move it in and out of parking spaces, but most importantly is actually this whole integration between the phone, the car, the service centers, and the charging, which means that it's all just seamless. You pay for your charging automatically when you plug in because you've registered your credit card through the app. When there's a problem with the car, you'll get a notification on your phone. It'll send the details to the car, and when you get there to the service center, the car will automatically get into a service mode. You'll get a notification on your phone. You don't even have to talk to anybody, and when you're finished, you got your invoice on your phone, and it just all works and hangs together better than any other car brand. It's just amazing how it's all seamless. And I think that some people might believe that Tesla doesn't necessarily make the best electric cars, but they do make the best integrated system. There should be no doubt about that. Of course, you also get a bunch of different applications here. Many of those are for music. I swear, this is not my music. This is my daughter's. I don't listen to this crap. But I can choose from Spotify, Tidal, Audible, Karaoke, Amazon Music, and 15 other music services to stream my live music. I can also play video games. I can go into fart mode, or I can watch YouTube just streamed to this massive screen. Brilliant. And it just keeps getting better. With every update, there's more things that you can do with it. One omission though, no Apple CarPlay and no Android Auto. For some people, that's a deal breaker. And I get it. Tesla wants you to use their system. Maybe you don't want to do what they say, right? So the car will park itself, and it can park itself like, look, I have a wonderful free parking lot in front of me, and I can pretty much choose any of these locations. So let me just choose that one there, way up there to the left, and the car will be able to do it. Let's see. It indicates that it's going to drive forward, and then it's going to turn slightly to the right, and then it's going to go to the left. Oh, by the way, look at this. This is the front-facing camera. Now when it changes to going backwards, it changed to the rear view camera. Now the reason why it can do this, parking where there are only lane markings and not actual cars parked, is because it uses just the camera system to do all this. Oh, it felt like it needed to correct itself a little bit there. It parks itself really well. It does it quickly, about the same speed as a human. It can do it if you want to parallel park, or if you like this, want to park in a standard parking lot. Works absolutely fantastic. Yeah, and those who said that Tesla wouldn't be able to do this using only cameras when there are no, it does it really well. It does it quickly, and it can park pretty much anywhere. It works fantastic, even though it uses only cameras. There are no other sensors on the outside of this car for it to be able to park, and it just does it using cameras. Works really great. The Tesla autopilot system in Europe, take into account, I am in Europe, so I do not have the benefit of driving with all the FSD and all those things that you have in the fancy US. This is what it does in Europe. So there are 3 levels. You have the basic autopilot, which comes standard on all vehicles. That'll do lane keep, and it'll do adaptive cruise control. So I set a speed, and it'll keep that speed unless there's a car in front of it, and then it'll adapt to whatever circumstances of traffic we have. Next step is what they call the advanced autopilot, where it can do lane changes for me. It won't actually do it just by itself. I have to initiate it by using the indicator stalk. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the indicator stalk later on, because it is actually quite interesting. Yes, I know, we're in 2025, and I'm going to talk about an indicator stalk as an innovation. Bear with me. Changing lanes on indicator is quite useful, because it means that I do not have to deactivate my autopilot system. Otherwise, I'd have to, say, sort of put it on, deactivate it, and then put it on again when I'm in the new lane. And that's sort of a ding dong, ba bum, bing dong. Nah, it's much better than it just does it by itself. This comes with the enhanced autopilot. I think I called it advanced. It's enhanced autopilot. It also recognizes stop signs and traffic lights and a few other details. Now look at this. It's detected road conditions where I have roadworks and cones next to it. So even though I've set it to 115 in this case, it's gone all the way down to 60 kilometers an hour. Wonderful. Adapting the maximum speed, not only to the legal maximum, but actually to the real world road conditions. This is something that Tesla and only very, very few others do. Mercedes, BMW, XPeng, that's about it. The rest will either, just go too fast through a curve or not do the curve very well. When you're at a highway, you can drive all the way up to 140 kilometers an hour on the autopilot, regardless of what the maximum speed limit is. The car will allow you to set it above the legal speed limit. However, if you're on secondary roads or a two-way traffic road, you will not be able to do that. The car will limit it to 10 kilometers above the speed limit at any point in time. So if it's 60, you can do a 70. If the speed limit is 80, you can do a maximum of 90. And it's quite useful. It will also automatically accelerate and decelerate when it sees the speed limit change. There are two ways with which the car can detect the driver. First, it'll detect my hands on the steering wheel. It'll use torque, so I have to apply a slight bit of torque to the steering wheel. Actually, I don't have to do it actively. Say, for example, if I just sit here with my hands on the steering wheel like that, the weight of my hands on the steering wheel is enough for the car to know that. Some cars will actually detect your hands on the steering wheel, much the same way a mobile phone does, just with the static electricity in your fingers. Not this one. This one you actually have to apply a little bit of force. Not a lot. It's not something that you do actively, it just works. The second way that it detects the driver is through a little camera we've got up here. As soon as I start looking away from the road, it'll start barking at me. Look at this. I'm just going to look too much at the screen here instead of looking up front. I am paying attention, I am looking up front. And after about 5 seconds, it's going to say, pay attention to the road. Same thing will happen if I pick up a mobile phone, if I'm looking too much out the window or anything else like that. It works really, really well. It detects very well if I'm actually paying attention. So well, in fact, that if I try to put in something in the navigation system while I'm using the system, it's going to bark at me. I guess that's what it should do. The only exception to the camera working is if I put on my sunglasses. If I have my sunglasses on, I can look at my mobile phone or the screen or out the window, and the car will not be able to detect that I'm doing those things. Tesla says there'll be a software update that'll fix that shortly. The quality of the lane keep and the quality of the speed adjustment is absolutely the best in the world. Yes, there's phantom braking, and yes, you can find the odd occasion where it will leave the lane without you wanting it to. But those are absolute exceptions. Very out of the ordinary use case. You do have to pay attention. It's still a level 2 system. You are still responsible, and it is actually so good that the biggest problem people have is they get overconfident in how well it works and just start letting the car do it and start ignoring the warnings, etc. Which is why you'd have to have a camera to detect mobile phone use, etc. It is a fantastically efficient system, and I know there's a lot of hype about it. It's not self-driving here, but it's also not, a shite system that just disengages and phantom brakes all the time, as some would have you believe. It is one of the best, but it's not flawless. I promised I was going to talk about the indicator stores, because this is that kind of video. Yeah, let's go deep into an indicator store. Bear with me, okay? In order to change lanes, I can just put on my indicator store and the autopilot would do it for me. So let's say I'm going to change back in there, put it on early on purpose. Hang on, let me just paying attention, sorry. I put it on early because I was right next to the bus. You can see there was a red line saying that I couldn't do it yet, and then it did it by itself. And once it was in the new lane, it then started, and once it was in the new lane, it then turned off the indicators by themselves. Right. So think about that. Even if I'm not using the autopilot and I put on the blinkers to the left and it just goes ding, 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 as you can see there. Now, when I actually do the maneuver, let me show you. Now I'm in the new lane. It turns itself off. And it's not because I've turned the steering wheel too much. It's because it knows I've done the maneuver I've tried to indicate for. This means that a good old-fashioned indicator stalk where I'd have like 2 steps, one for like 3 to 5 blinks and the other to just turn it on and keep it on, makes no sense anymore, because the car knows when it's supposed to turn it off. So this new indicator is the simplest and most minimalist of all indicators. You can go left and go right, that's it. You can't even do high beams or anything like that. You'd have to do that using a button here on the steering wheel. But it's all you really need. In fact, this is a brilliant example of where the software was updated so that it would automatically turn off your blinkers, and then afterwards they thought, well, then we don't need a 2-step blinker, we just need the simplest of blinkers. This one. Yeah. So software updating hardware afterwards. Yeah, I love it. I think it's the best little blinker in the world. It is sexy, it is slim. Yeah, alright, it's a blinker, but it's nice. Okay, price-wise, I'm going to refer to the prices here in Spain where I live. Prices around the world will, of course, be slightly different. This car, as you see it here, is 52,000 euros before any government incentives. Luckily, there are now alternatives. You know, when the Model Y first came out, that was it. That was the only D-segment SUV that you could reasonably pay for in the price class and range, and it was just in a league of its own. That is no longer the case. For example, you can buy the Xpeng G6 even in the performance version for only 4,000 euros more than this one. That's a faster accelerating car, and it's got all the autopilot stuff already included, which you'll have to pay extra for in this one. Then you have the BYD Sea Lion 7 all-wheel drive excellence. More luxurious on the inside, but perhaps less technologically advanced with driver assistance features and connectivity. And of course, there's the good old, well, not so old anymore because it's brand new, Ford Capri. In its all-wheel drive, long-range configuration, it'll set you back 49,000, 2,000 or 3,000 less than the Model Y. Now, depending on what your preference is between technology, driver assistance feature, range, charging, interior space, etc., you might choose one or the other, but at least it's nice to see that we now have an open market with several different options available to you. So yeah, this is a good priced or well-priced car, but it is no longer in a league of its own, at least not in the all-wheel drive configuration.
Now let's do the scoring. We have 8 categories and we score each one from 0 to 10 points. We add it all up and weigh each category according to the importance it has for the choice of your vehicle. We multiply it, we use math, and then we get to a final score for the ElectroExam between 0 and 100 points. Traveling. The Tesla Model Y stands out when it comes to range and efficiency. In today's test, with temperatures between 6 and 11 degrees Celsius, which is 43 to 52 degrees Fahrenheit, and light rain, the car used only 18.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, equivalent to about 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour, which is very impressive in these conditions. Even so, we managed to drive 394 kilometers, equivalent to 245 miles, on a full charge. This level of efficiency makes the Model Y a great choice for long-distance trips. It scores 8 out of 10 points for traveling. Charging experience. The charging experience with the Model Y is still among the best. To add 200 kilometers or 124 miles of range, we needed 37.2 kilowatt hours, and it took just 14 minutes and 50 seconds, thanks to a top charging speeds of 192 kilowatts. You can adjust the charging speed when using AC, schedule charging, and plan your route with Tesla's system, which works really well. The screen gives clear and useful information, and you can also manage everything from the Tesla app. The only downside is that it doesn't offer bi-directional charging. It scores 8 out of 10 points. Driving. The Model Y goes from 0 to 100 or 0 to 62 in just 4.7 seconds according to our test. It has all-wheel drive and the new version is quieter than ever. It still has the best regenerative braking, the suspension feels comfortable, and even though it's a large SUV, it doesn't feel heavy or clumsy to drive. While it's not a sports car, the all-wheel driving feel is very good for this type of vehicle. It also scores 8 out of 10 points for driving. Interior and quality. The Model Y is very spacious with a huge 854-litre trunk, 30.2 cubic feet, plus 117 litres of frunk, 4.1 cubic feet. In this updated version, Tesla has clearly improved the materials and finish. The new interior looks cleaner, more refined, the seats are now fully electric, and overall comfort is just a lot better. It scores 8 out of 10. Exterior and design. The new Model Y design now has its own identity. It's no longer just the bigger and fatter Model 3, and that is a big plus. It's still one of the most practical EVs out there with options like tow hitch and a charging port placed conveniently on the rear left side. It's hard to find flaw in this exterior, but also it's still an SUV. 8 out of 10 points again. Technology. Technology is both a strong point and an area where some people might want some more. Tesla uses a single screen interface which is clean and easy to use, but it lacks a second screen, a heads-up display, or built-in Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Still, Tesla's own system works extremely well and connects smoothly with mobile app and the Tesla online services. So I give it 7 out of 10 points. Driver assistance features. Even though Tesla's full self-driving isn't available in Europe like it is in the US, the driver assistance features are still among the best. They work smoothly, are reliable, and respond well to road conditions. On highways, they're a pleasure to use. Tesla has also improved the auto park function, which now works really well. Another 8 out of 10 points here. Price. The Tesla Model Y is still priced very competitively. Its value for money helps explain why it was the best-selling car worldwide in 2023 and 2024. Tesla kept the price of this updated version very similar to the old one, which is great news. It also qualified for government incentives in most countries, making it even more affordable. Again, 8 out of 10 points. Adding it all up and applying the weight for each category in our ElectroExam, the Tesla Model Y gets a final score of 79 out of 100 points, and that puts it at the top of the list. If you want to compare this with other cars we've tested, you can do so on our website linked below. There, you can also adjust how much each category matters to you and see which car fits your needs the best.
So that is the new Tesla Model Y. There are plenty of good reasons to choose this car. The range, the comfort, the sportiness, the size, the practicality, the technology, the charging. I mean, this car has pretty much got it all. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, subscribe, as we'll soon bring many more cars to this channel. See you again soon with another review of another electric vehicle. You've been watching Totally Electric. Ciao.